So for those who worked with us, you must have seen this presentation, part of it. Lindsay, have you seen this?
Yeah.
Taylor, definitely seen it. This was your last time, isn't it?
Yeah.
But okay, fine. So I went to a conference in Manchester 4 weeks ago where we had a one-day session on how to do presentations, and it was very, very useful. So all the slides that I have is not mine. It's been given by Ross Fisher, who is a pediatric surgeon and who travels around the world talking about how to do presentation. Some of you might have seen his videos, some of you must listen to his podcast, absolutely wonderful. He used a technique called PQ, which I'll discuss about. So, nothing to do with, this is not my original work, but I'm just sharing what I learned and heard on the Manchester course. And one of the things was, I did tell them I will do this teaching, and then, because they want this teaching to be done wherever you are, so it's one of the agreement with Ross that I'll give you all my slides and then you can teach your trainees. Taylor has seen these slides, some of the slides as well, so bear with me, but I'm pretty sure you guys can add something to it. All in all, what I'm trying to say is I think we can do our presentations better, alright, and hopefully I can give you some tips and hints from what I learned, alright, okay, good, so that's the Manchester teaching course. The B represents the young children, also teenagers, teens who were killed in the bomb blast in Manchester, and they use that as the logo for the teaching course. The teaching course is international, and they're done in Chicago, they're done in New York, they're done in Cape Town, Sydney probably a couple of times. They did Manchester last month and a half ago. And there's one in Amsterdam at the end of this month or beginning of next month. I don't have any what we call conflict of interest, but I would seriously advise that if you are going to be consultants and doing a lot of presentations, the presentation not just in presentation as in teaching junior colleagues, but business cases, anything. This is quite useful. I recommend that. So you're thinking, like, we're talking about presentation, this slides comes up. This is just a brief summary of the program that we went. Alright, myself, Prem, we went there, including Hema. Luckily, we were sponsored by Engineering because they felt it was that good enough for us to be sponsored. So we were fortunate to go free. Fine. So that's me. Tell Hema couldn't make it because he's traveling to Japan, but he's going to do something. But last minute, hey ho. So we started the program, the first lecture was about why do we do presentations, or why do presentations fail, or in his own words, why do presentations succeed. I've talked about Semmelweis in the past, everybody heard about him, sort of heard a little bit about it. People who understand well and should have heard a little bit about it because we keep talking about it. So, Semmelweis was an Austrian doctor, I think in the 1850s or 60s, who went to the hospital in Vienna, where they found the mortality between the maternity mortality between the clinic that was run by the doctor and by the midwives was hugely different. Okay, to the stage that the woman will say, I want to have my baby delivered on the streets rather than go and see the doctors. And that's how bad it was. Right? He found out the reason behind it was that medical students and the doctors, the senior doctors over there, they would go and do post-mortem, they did not wash their hands, and they transferred the infection as a result from the dead bodies. Alright? He wanted to implement change and said we've got to wash our hand. Okay, we got to wash our hand, and he was ridiculed. He was maligned, and he was sent to a mental asylum, where he died after being assaulted by the security staff in the mental hospital. And according to Ross Fisher, which is the guy over there, he said that if he had done a better presentation, it might have been different.
Windows 10.
Or present.
So what I'm saying is, I think we all got lots of good, great, grand ideas. Okay, we should know how to deliver it. We should, in a convincing way that people can understand. We don't want to end up like similar ways. I'm not sure whether it's fortunately, but his body was exhumed only in 1970s. Now they got a statue of him that's way many 850 years after he died. We've all seen this, isn't it? Yeah? We go to a lecture, or we go to a business meeting, we go to any kind, we've seen this. Alright? Okay, if you see here, the guy is almost dead. The guy in the middle, I believe he's trying to do something for tomorrow or something in the evening. Okay? This guy looks like he's a bit attentive, I'm not sure whether he is.
He looks overage for any presentation, meeting, whatever.
But that's what happens. You will have people listening to you. So what I'm saying is, this is something that we have come across. Alright? And we have come across not only when others are presenting it, but when we ourselves are doing it as well.
Has nothing to do with the quality of the presentation itself, I would argue, and sometimes it just happens.
I like that. My presentation is okay.
Keep telling yourself
Don't
that.
be offended if he dozes off.
Setting the grounds.
Setting the ground. Okay.
You have just finished teaching.
Thank you, Satya. Satya has kindly got some drinks for us. So, I don't think this is fair, okay? I'm pretty sure this gentleman came to the lecture or to the presentation so I would get out something from this, okay? Alright, so presentation. What I learned from that day was presentation has 3 parts. Okay? So presentation has 3 parts. The first part is presentations. Okay? Second part is presentation. And the third part is presentations. I'll go into detail of it, but the presentation has 3 parts. Whatever we do today, whatever I'm doing right now, has 3 parts. And if your first part is presentation, second part is presentation, third part is presentation, you multiply them and that's the product of your presentation. So the presentation that we're going to do right now from every Wednesday, we can think about how do we do it. What it means is that P1, the first presentation, is what Rose Fisher described as P1. P1 is the story. Today I have a story, how to do presentations, or learning about PQ presentation from the Manchester Post. That's my story I have, okay? The second one is the media. The media is the PowerPoint that we all use all the time, okay? The lights, the sound system, okay? And that's the media. The third one is the delivery. The delivery is me talking to you, me sharing with you, me looking at you, interacting. That's the delivery. When you multiply all of them together, that is your final product of your presentation, of your lecture. Okay? So Rose Fisher gives a very good example of a good presentation. Anybody hasn't heard about Romeo and Juliet? No, we all heard about it. So Romeo and Juliet on Stratford upon Avon is the typical example. So Romeo and Juliet is a good story. We all agree with that? We all agree that Romeo and Juliet is a good story. It has been there for the last 500 years and I'm pretty sure almost everyone all over the world knows about it. Oh, almost quite a lot of people, okay? Then, so that's the story. The story is one of the best. Then you've got the medium. That's the P2. The P2 is your sound system, is your lights, is your, how the things are choreographed. That's your media. Okay? That's the media. And the last one is the performance. The performance given by the actors and actresses. Okay? And what did they do? They practiced for hours and weeks and years. So we got a good story, we got a media, an auditorium that is world class, okay? And we got performers who has practiced and practiced and practiced. This is why it's very difficult to get a ticket, or if you go to on the same day, get a ticket on Strap-Up-On, because it's so popular. And that's what it is. On the other hand, so P1, if you, let's say you get a score of 1 out of 10. P1 story, Romeo and Juliet, probably around 10 or 9. Strap-Up-On Idiom or the auditorium, around 9, 10 again. P3, that's the performance, and the 9, 10, that's how you multiply and get your final product. On the other hand, you can have a different one. So, let's say quite a few of us has children. We all have into the, Christmas is coming. Let's say they are doing Romeo and Juliet or the nativity play. The kids, they're running around everywhere. They're falling down. They forgot the script, or they don't know the script. All right? Okay. And that's what happens. I've seen that. I've seen this for my daughter for the last 6 years. And no matter how bad it is, I love it. Okay? Because the audience is the parents.
That's Bishop's P4.
But you cannot expect your audience to be the parents all the time. It doesn't happen, doesn't it? But it's what the audience wants as well. So that's the... So Ross Fisher thinks that everything that we've been doing for many, many years in presentation is wrong or it's crap. Okay? And he says that with science, whatever we've been doing, many of the things are wrong, and it's not wrong because of his personal opinion, but because science proves that it's wrong. Your presentation fails because of Bloom's taxonomy. Anyone heard about this? We're all teaching, so we should know about this. So, what happened is, on the Bloom taxonomy, if you look at it, most of the time when we do presentation, it's around here. That's my personal opinion, okay? So if I say, Lisa, can you send me the presentation for next week? Can I have a look? What do you do?
Send it to me.
You send me the PowerPoint slides, isn't it? That's what we do. Yeah? And the PowerPoint slide is part of the medium. And what we do is, we have been recognizing our presentation as the PowerPoint slides. But I've just shown to you, or probably what Ross Fisher said is probably it's true that the presentation has 3 parts. And the PowerPoint slide that Lisa would have sent to me is one of the part of it. So PowerPoint presentation is not a presentation, it's part of the presentation. And we use PowerPoint slides most of the time because we didn't have time. We write something down and that would be the thing for me to remember what to talk about, to help me guide if I remember. If I can't remember anything, I'll just turn around and I'll read about it. Okay? So, I'm not sure how many we will understand, apply, analyze, evaluate, and create. We have to be at the top because I'm pretty sure all of you will become consultant in the next 1 or 2 years, or 3 years, whoever is SD4, okay? But because that's what they expect from you. All right, okay? Interesting, isn't it? What am I doing now? And we're trying to read that. It's very difficult to read that. Okay, and if you try to read it, you can't listen to me. So they have found that there are 93 reasons why PowerPoint fails. 93 reasons. Okay? But in the last 15 years, PowerPoint is what we use all the time for our presentations. Without PowerPoint, we feel like, oh my god, what am I going to do? You've seen this kind of presentations in the past? Yeah, we've seen this. This is real, actual slides. And if you look at these slides, which we are doing because we're trying to read the cause of hyperkalemia, and this talk is nothing to do with causes of hyperkalemia. This is about how to do presentation. You will have found that Gordon's syndrome is one of the causes for hyperkalemia, even though it has nothing to do with this today's lecture, or I'm not sure how much we thought about Gordon's syndrome as part of the hyperkalemia. Because whoever the Muppet has put up these slides has put in bold letters, so we wanted to read it. Okay? You see it? Over there? I don't know, I don't care. But what I'm saying is we have seen this. We've seen this. We put a lot of information and data on our slide. And same thing again. So this is another talk from that day. Alright? So vasopressor support in septic shock. I didn't go to learn about sepsis on that day. I'll make it a bit bigger if anybody wants to read about it. But and this is what we do. When things comes up on our PowerPoint slides, we want to read because that's what we humans do. We like to read in a linear fashion. Alright? From the right to left or left to right. Depends on whether you read English or Urdu, whichever. But we like to read. Okay? And I'm not sure how many of you are reading it. Some of you might be reading it. Or all of you might be reading it. I would have been one of them. But I was one of the persons who read it on that day. Because we like to read. So this is the flows of the PowerPoint presentation. Okay? There are many reasons about why PowerPoint, and this is the abstract from that. Okay? And if you have read it, okay, alright. But if I do this,
we're no better than a chicken.
sorry?
We're no better than a chicken.
Oh yeah, you're no better than. If I do this, I get your attention.
That's ready.
I'm delivering the performance of my teaching to you. Okay? Alright? But if I do that, it's easy not to focus on what has been written over there.
How fast do you read? How did you get to know better than a chicken? You just picked up the word chicken from the
I can't help being a member of Mensa, I'm so sorry.
The reason why, so if you read it enough, yeah, there you go. You know better than a hypnotized chicken. I'll tell you why. See, and we will try to read it about it, alright? Regardless of whatever is the presenter is talking, you will try to read this and you know what you're reading, okay? Yes, that's right? No better than a hypnotized chicken. So, unfortunately I can't play on this, so I'll put it on the YouTube.
Also, we're allowed to use the medium. There's no restriction. I'm sure there is. I haven't pushed it.
Surely that's all
I'll do it to the end, okay? This is what we're doing.
Anybody fancy Kentucky?
So, we humans like that, if there's a line to read, we will read it. So if you put a presentation and you have a PowerPoint, you put lots of lines, your audience, the learners, they will read it, or they will stare at it like a hypnotized chicken. But this is what the message that the key message about this is reading is not teaching. all read together, it's not teaching. I can get my 10-year-old daughter to come here and read all the slides, put lots of PowerPoint, put everything there, and you will not like it. You will think like, okay, all right, we need to change whoever is our lead for teaching organization. Because when we read, we can't listen. Basic thing is, regardless of the myth, whether a man or woman, we can't multitask. Alright? Things that we can do and multitask is, I can have my tea or my coffee or my drink and watch the movie. Other things that I can do is on the phone and have coffee or tea. But if I ask you to watch the telly and talk to on the phone, it becomes difficult. But if you are asking your audience, your learners, a very difficult thing about learning about vasopresses and septic shock, it becomes very, very difficult. Right. So when you are not listening, you're not learning because you're reading. That's the message that Rose Fisher was trying to get to all of us. And his big message was that, can you please kill all the bullet points for midnets? Okay, anyway. Sorry.
I agree that you're not listening, when you're reading, you're not learning, right?
Yeah.
So when you're reading, you're not teaching, or something like that.
Yeah.
If you connect the end part of it, reading is not teaching, yes, but reading can be learning as well.
So, well, what
Correct,
I'm trying to do
visual
is,
learning.
so there can be some learning, but the whole purpose of the learning is, what I'm trying to do is, you are trying to learn, not just whatever I've written over there. If you want to learn just by reading, then you don't need to come to the lecture. I can give you handouts and you can learn at wherever at different readings. The purpose of coming to a place like today, into this lecture series, is to do some learning among each other.
Yeah.
So we want to learn a bit more than just handouts. So if you want to do it, if you want to just do handouts, that's fine, but that's not the learning that we want to do.
And yet it shows you don't question is valid in the sense, is transfer of knowledge learning?
So this is differentiating between the processing functionality and the initial stage, because we're all different learners. Some learn by listening, some learn by doing, some learn by reading. It's probably a combination of things. You're distinguishing that from the processing stage of transfer of information.
There are different ways, I agree with whatever Tim said, is, so we're trying to get everything together, alright, the PQ, that we're not just learning just by reading the story, or by listening to somebody, or by just reading on the PowerPoint slides.
So the other point is learning is not transfer of information. Lecture and learning is to raise the curiosity on the listener to go and do their own work.
Yeah.
If you do that, you have achieved in your presentation. But if you want to pass on to information, you could do it by an email, you could do it by a poster, lots of different things. But if you stand up and do a performance, it's not just transferring knowledge from Vish to you, it's the enthusiasm and the curiosity from him should infect you so that you will go and learn yourself. And that is what the point in terms of.
I'm going to say there is
No,
something
that's
about
a visual, that's more of a visual memory making.
but this is also about the value of your time.
Yeah.
If you're going to
Yeah,
take
that's
the
value.
time to come and sit and listen to somebody, if they're going to deliver no more to you than you could have done whizzing through those PowerPoint slides on your own at home with a bit of concentration and a cup of tea, actually that's not useful. That's not useful to you, it's not useful to them, and actually you might as well go home and do it. And I have been in courses and I have attended learning sessions where that's absolutely the case. But I think if you are going to make an effort to come and engage, the process that you're engaging with needs to give you more than you would get from reading the slides. Otherwise, there's not much point. So I think this is about presentation, this is not about learning as a whole. We all know, if you go to med school and you never read a book, you're not going to pass. But if you go to med school and you only read a book, it's going to be quite difficult for you to really get a proper understanding of, well, the value of life generally. I didn't read many books.
So, that's the, okay. What? So why do we present like this? Okay, that's the thing, right? Why do we do our supposed to be teaching or learning events has to be like how it's been in the past? The reason being is, so anybody heard about a story about this? We all heard about how to bail the cat, yeah? Okay. Alright? You must have told your children or your niece or nephews. Okay. Alright. So the story is about how to bail the cat, because the mouse will want to bail the cat because the mouse was eating everyone. Did I get it wrong? Sorry if I got it wrong. Fine. So let's go to the next slide. Okay. Fine. What we say is, if you are trying to teach, if you get a book out and you read the book to children who are 6 years old or about 5 years old, what they will do? If you get a book out, you just read about it. They will say, my son, who is now 5 years, will say, Daddy, I'm a big boy now. I don't want to read me a story just by reading out. He wants illustrations, he wants voices, he wants, my hand, you want a performance. So a 5-year-old, or anyone, the science says that by the time you reach 5, you can't just do reading. Okay? If you see the next slide, look at it, the hands are coming out. That's how teaching is going on, that's how learning is going on. Now, if a 5-year-old doesn't want to just be read out a story, how can I expect you guys to listen to me just reading out? Or our professors, our associate professors, or people who have been doing this learning and teaching for a long, long time. What we've been doing if we're just, I'm not saying we're doing it before, but more many a time we've seen, if we are just reading out the slides, even anybody is below 5 years old will not appreciate that. And this is what happens. Not Lisa, so somebody will say, can you send me the slides? This is what we got. So what do we do? And why this happen? If you look here, there is the learning that we're talking about. So before in the past, we taught lots of data, lots of information put on our slides was learning. Okay? And we do that because we don't have time. Okay? Or we don't make the time to do it, or we don't understand the topic very well. And if we don't understand the topic very well, what happens is we wrote everything down and easy for us to stand there and read it. At the same time, it ticks my box in my e-portfolio. I have done the teaching, I have done the presentation, regardless of how good or how bad it is. You tick the box. It was a tick box exercise. And we cannot do that by the time at stage of our career, of your career. Alright, so what happens is content overload. We thought teaching, learning was a lot of data with causes of hyperkalemia, 20 points into that. Causes of headache, 20 points into that. Causes treatment for meningitis, 20, this is what we thought was teaching, but that's not what it should be. Okay? And what happened is we've got so many data that you get confused. Alright? In one session, the maximum that we can take away is around 3 to 4 points. Okay? 3 to 4 key learning points is the maximum that we human brains can take it. Whether you are Einstein or whether you are my 10-year-old, whether you are ST4 or ST5 or ST6. That's what we do. Okay? So, again, as humans, we can't read and listen at the same time. This is proven. Okay? Alright? We can task switch but not multitask. So this is why only women are better in multitasking. We say multitasking because they can do many things quickly. Okay, I can't do it. I have to take my own time. So if they are reading your slides, they're not listening to you. And if they're not listening to you, then probably you should not be talking. And then I should not be here. That's what I'm trying to get. Alright? So the message gets failed. Whatever I'm trying to share, some key learning points doesn't get passed across. So try to get at least a maximum of 3 or 4 key points. A bit of doom and gloom, but we get some power of positivity. We try to see whether I can give you some hint from what I learned from that day. Alright, but this is what we've been seeing many, many times. I went to a workshop conference. Primarily we went there for NSS leaders. Right, so we had guys from Norwich, Lincolnshire, Worcester, quite a few, alright? And I just saw the slides, and I saw how they were presenting, and I was just like, Prem, what are we seeing today? You mean, it was so much overload of information, and we cannot process it. We could not remember it. And this was supposed to be the conferences for the top people in NHS to plan for our winter. Alright. I cannot take all this information. Alright. Then we had wine in the evening and a bit hungover the next day. It was so difficult. Alright. Alright. I didn't have much, but we did have a little bit, yeah. So let's go back to the story, the media, and delivery. Alright. How are we going to improve our story? How are we going to improve our media? How are we going to improve our delivery? I did the same presentation with Lindsay, Taylor, and who else is there from Sandwell and City? Alright. Oh, Berlin and Satya is there. I saw Satya. Oh, yeah, there you go. You were not there last time. No, so I did the same presentation last time. Okay. And I made all the slides. Okay. I thought about the story when I was doing when I was in the conferences. And I said like, okay, I think this is quite good. So my story about how to do a presentation for our consultant and middle grade teaching was already in my mind 6 weeks before I did the presentation last week. So yesterday, when I got an email from Mahesh, sorry, I'm not trying to, everybody knows me from Burton, I had something in my, and then I called up Lorna and Prem, can we do something, because I don't want our trainees to miss any training opportunities or any learning opportunities. And I thought, okay, I can squeeze this in and see what the hours we learn from. So if you've got a story that has been there and practiced in your head almost for like 6 to 8 weeks, then you've got a story, you can talk about it to your colleagues. This is what I'm trying to do, okay? I just look at this slide to the morning, okay, because that's the only time I had. But the story was evolving in my mind for a long time, so this is why I'm able to tell the story to you. The media, last time my media company failed, we could not do it, so I had to use a Ross Fisher slides, which was there on the internet by itself, on a slide share, and did it. But today, what I did was, I went to PC World, and I bought this. Okay? But still did not connect. So there's supposed to be, so on that workshop, we were given about, these things happen. If you're going abroad, if you're going somewhere, these things will happen. So get your media, all the things that you need, always in your pocket or in your bag all the time, because you never know when you use it. I spent hours and hours preparing the slides, and then you can't present. It's just, so frustrating to get it. And the delivery. The delivery is the most important. I'm planning to do the same lecture back in India next month, and this is one of my practice. I'm not using a guinea pig, but the more you do it, you get better. Okay, so the story. Please write your story before you make your slides. What we do,